Flossmas day 5 or 6. Haven't checked. We've had a little bit of snow overnight. And that's wonderful. Youngest is down playing in the snow, so I'm trying not to get him in the video. Still gray, but a lot brighter. Hi everybody. It's me back with a little bit of a knit with me. I am working on an Elf on the Shelf hat for a friend of mine, and there will be lots of editing to accommodate for me coughing. So if you notice me fading back and forth sometimes, it's because I'm coughing. So I am here. I just noticed there's some second cup. Goodness, my youngest son was off this morning for they're doing something special at the school. Anyway, he was off school today, and we went to Second Cup to have some small hot chocolates with whipped cream and oat cakes as a treat. I usually do that when the boys have a PD day or off school, because it's a nice little treat. I went and got my hairs trimmed today, so enjoy the look, because it won't ever look like this again. I can never get my hair to look like they do it at the salon. But that was fun. I lost a few inches of hair, and I'm pleased with that. I'll get a little bit more. I'm still transitioning into gray, so I'll get the color will come down a little bit less blonde and hopefully more into gray on the 16th or 17th. I think I get that done, but I was due for a trim. And you know when you decide you're due for a trim, you just want it done now? Well, that's what I did. So I'm working on an Elf on the Shelf hat for a friend of mine. When the elf first came out, Santa and I discussed that I didn't need an elf. I needed an elf for many reasons in terms of cooking and cleaning, but that wasn't in the elf's job description. So we don't have an elf visit our house every year like some houses. However, one of my friends is lucky enough to have an elf, and she recently moved, and the elf lost his hat somewhere in the big move. So I'm knitting a new one, and I'm knitting it out of, bet you can tell every time before I'm about to cough because my voice goes funny. Anyway, I'm just using regular, this is a Canadian staple, Patton's Astra, and I am using just white and red, and I will have enough to knit a million elf hats out of this. Now because I don't have an elf to model, this hat seems kind of big, but I actually haven't spent a whole lot of time in the elf, in an elf house or the elf factory, so I'm not really sure if this is going to be too big or not. So what I'm going to do is so this is the hat so far. It's about this big, which seems big to me. Doesn't that seem big? Maybe it's not. So what I've planned on doing is I'm going to knit one. I need it done for tomorrow night, so I'm going to knit one, so one's finished. And then I'm going to go back and knit it again in hopes that I knit it a little bit tighter the second time around. And I may go down a needle size just to make sure. Now, I'll just hold the guts out of my ball of wool. See if I can find an end here. No, not destined to find an end easily. So, let's ball this up on the outside. So how are you doing today? Happy Flossmas Day 6. I can't believe it's the 6th of December. I have got so much to do. Usually by now the tree is up. The Christmas decorating is almost done. I feel so behind. The only thing I've managed to accomplish today is I got half of the house vacuumed. Half of the upstairs, not even half the house. And that threw me into such fits of coughing that I can barely record this. And that was 3 hours ago. Vacuuming may get delegated to one of my sons this weekend. So I just need to add in red and knit. This is a free pattern. I found a free Elf on the Shelf hat pattern on Ravelry, in case you're looking for one. And I'll put in the name of the designer when I edit, because I'm using my phone to record and I can't now also look up the name of the designer. And I'm pretty sure this is a free pattern. Pretty sure. So you can hear my needles clicking away from the, I'm knitting at my kitchen island, and the island is granite. So my wooden needles are clickety clattering on the stone. So how are you all making out? How's Flossmas treating you? Flossmas is treating me pretty well. My only complaint about Flossmas, and this has nothing to do with Flossmas, is our weather has been terrible. Now this morning, when I did my weather report, we had a fine sprinkling of snow. That's the first snow we have had in the late fall, early winter, because I know it's not technically winter until the 21st, but of 2019. And what a difference to my mood that made, just looking out and going out with the dog and seeing that white fluffy stuff falling. This, where we live, we're on the Avalon Peninsula of the island of Newfoundland. And where we live, we don't actually get a whole lot of snow here. We get a lot of slop, what I call slop. We get a lot of rain, freezing rain, snow, then it melts because it gets rained on. It rarely gets below, if we get a -11 or a -12 day, that's a very cold day for here. We don't usually get very cold weather. Now the wind chill is often very cold, but in terms of just the temperature, we don't usually get below -12. That would be unusual. Now other parts of our fair province, like only 4 hours away, 5 hours away in different parts of the island, they would get cooler temperatures and lots of snow. Certainly in Labrador they get lots of snow and very cold temperatures. But where we happen to live, most people will tell you, and I'm one of them, we are here in this part of the island not for the weather. We are here on this part of the island because this is where the jobs are. And it's not that it isn't pretty here, it is. But I have to admit, there are other parts of the province I would live in were my husband not working right here at the airport in St. John's. Because, as I just mentioned, the weather here is crap. It's fine if you like rain and freezing rain, and you can't go out in the winter because it's either dangerous or, like, I might get snowshoeing 3 or 4 times in a winter. I should get snowshoeing out all winter. I should get skating all winter. Anyway. I grew up on mainly the western side of western, little further out eastern in Trinity Bay, western Newfoundland, and Labrador. And I'm used to a cold winter with snow. So I must say I do find the weather here. Anyway, there, I've nattered on about weather. I'm sure you're bored to tears. I'm knitting away. I only have to knit 1.5 inches of the, actually I'm not sure if it's 1.5 inches of knitting from the white edge or the, where I started with the red. Anyway, I'm far off either one of it, so let's see. Yeah, I've got about 1 inch, so I still need to do another couple rows. So it's Friday. Hoping I'll get some stitching in tonight for Friday off the grid stitch in. We shall see. I really need to put in some hours on my secret stitching. So it's likely over the next few days of Flossmas you will know that I am stitching, but you won't be able to see what I'm stitching. So I need to do that. There's just so many things to do. Never a dull moment. So I'm knitting on 3 double-pointed needles. For those of you who are not familiar with knitting and such, and knitting on double-pointed needles isn't hard, but it does take some practice. We received our first Christmas card in the mail today. I was excited about that. So one of my aunts in Ontario, my aunt in, let me see, I'm not going to show you the address, but look at the nice stamp on the back. My aunt who lives in London, Ontario. See, Caroline, when I come visit, I've got somebody to stay with. Actually, I have 2 somebodies because my cousin's there as well. Just got her Christmas card today, so she is number 1. She and my uncle are the first ones with their Christmas cards. I have to admit, it's either usually her or her sister, one of her sisters, who's first, so that's very good. And I don't know, I haven't decided if I'm doing cards this year or not. Seems terrible not to, but You know, some years you get it together and other years you just don't. And I think this is going to be I'm hoping to become more organized, but it's starting to look like a fairly disorganized Flossmas, whether or not you see that or not. I feel that. And I'm hoping that I will become a little bit more organized over the next few days, and that the years to come will be more organized as well. For some reason, this year has gone particularly fast, and I've been particularly disorganized. And I don't normally make significant New Year's resolutions, but this year I might, in an attempt to become more organized. Some things I have more organized than before, but I guess it's a bit of a virtue of having children, or at least for me it is. When I had my kids, with each child I had a definite bout of postpartum depression, and I don't know if I was ever able to recover from those bouts, 2 years in between my kids, to get things organized before I was pregnant and experiencing the same thing again. So I try not to be too hard on myself, because there are certainly reasons things have gotten a little bit of awry. I don't know if you can see in the background my right here behind. Let's see if I can. There. My husband makes beer, and he's got his beer bottles upstairs. They've all been washed and sterilized and are ready, primed to be filled, but they haven't made it back downstairs to the beer room yet. So that's what my background decorating is all about. Then over on the other side of me, I've got a candle going over there with a table runner that I made a number of years ago. And it's kind of I guess it's kind of Christmassy. It is red and green and kind of a gold color. But it's a nice, kind of a neutral. I like using it just for winter. So I haven't got my Christmas runner on yet. That one's kind of a before and after Christmas runner. I have one or others, I should say. I don't have just one. Others that I feel are more Christmassy, so they will probably be coming out to grace our table soon. That's a table that we purchased just after we got married in 1996. We purchased it from IKEA in Edmonton. We got married in Newfoundland and Labrador and Upper Gullies, Conception Bay South, Newfoundland. And immediately, we knew we were posted before we got married, and moved to Cold Lake, Alberta. And we went from our move, even though we got married in Newfoundland, on the island of Newfoundland, we were living in Goose Bay, Labrador. And in Goose Bay, the houses there, it was our first house, and both of us were coming out of university. Neither one of us had had a house before, and the houses there were furnished, so they came with everything, right down to the forks, like everything that you'd need were provided. So we just had a few decorative items and linens. That's pretty much all we went to Cold Lake with. So we had no couch, we had no table, we had nothing to sit on. So my poor husband, because I was working on my master's degree at the time, so I actually came back to Newfoundland to move in with my parents for a few months to do one of my master's work placements. So he lived in that house, PMQ on the base, for 3 months, 2 months, before he had even one chair. It was just boxes and pillows. So anyway, we made this big IKEA order, and we bought this table, and this part that's down right here, see it's all wood, that comes up, so it turns a 4-person, 5-person table into a 6 or an 8-person table. Anyway, we bought it thinking, okay, this is fine, we'll get this for now, and then eventually we'll upgrade. And it's interesting, because of all the furniture that we bought at the time, it was the only one that I was thinking, you know what, this one I know I want to upgrade, but this is fine for now. So here we are, if you can do the math, between 1996 to 2019, we still have that table. And you know what, it has served us very well. It would be hard at this point, well, even if we did get a more formal, not too formal, but more formal dining room table, we're never getting rid of this table. It's got marks in it where the kids have written, it's got dings in it, it's got, it's part of the family now. And it's fine. It's not fancy, but it's sturdy. It's not like from this corner to this corner is not wide enough, so there's not enough depth in it to have placemats. It's 2 placemats with room down the middle to put food. So the food always has to go on the island because there's not enough room in the middle of the table. That is really my only complaint about that table. So if I got another one, I would get one as long as it is extended, but wider, so we could fit more people. But anyway, for now, and probably forever, we have our temporary table. And that's the story of the table. Oh my goodness. So I'm doing fairly well. I'm going to stop the phone for a second and see where my measurement is for if it's from the white or the red. So this is how far I've gotten. Cute little thing. Okay, just a second now. Hi again. It's a little later in the afternoon, like by about 20 minutes or half an hour. My older boys are now home from school, so snacks had to be had, and I got my pattern printed off so I can show that to you. It's Elf on the Shelf Christmas Hat for Micro Preemie by Glenna Anderson Hughes. So my printer's out of ink, so I'm only printing things in black and white right now, but that's the hat and the pattern. And now I have a paper pattern to follow, so which I find easier. I'm now doing the decrease, and I find it easier to take off the paper pattern as I'm going. I also want to show you something else that came this week, and that's my new magnet design. That cute? Hopefully, I don't know if it's really focusing. It's focusing on me. That's not bad. Maybe I'll put in a couple pictures. So it's a little bit bigger than my other needle minders. Not sure I like it this big. I think when I get them done again, I'll make them smaller, but they're fine. They're still using the rare earth magnets on the back, so they're nice and strong. And overall, I mean, the quality of the color and the enamel and everything is gorgeous. They're just a little, I know what size I ordered, but I was surprised still by how big they are. So I hope you like them. It's a little puffin wearing his sou'wester. Sou'wester or Cape Ann. Wearing his, isn't that terrible? With an iceberg in a dory, a traditional Newfoundland Labrador dory, with an iceberg in the background. So that's him. So I'm pleased with that. Like I said, I'll insert a couple pictures. So I'm just knitting away here. Started my decreases. So, and it's a free pattern. So I'm 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, knit 2 together. So I'm doing the decreases now. So it's regular hat pattern. Do your knit a row of decreases, knit a row in between, knit a row of decreases, etc. So that's about all I have to talk about right now. I just wanted to come back on because the boys interrupted me to say hello and goodbye. And if I don't get a chance to talk to you later this evening, it was great chatting with you. And I will see you again tomorrow on Flossmas Day 7. Take care. Bye.